All right. Good morning. Good afternoon. Kenneth Price. Sunday, February 26th. Zoom call number 66. Sunday morning Zoom call for my beloveds doing this. Zoom call number 66 for the ministry. I'm hosting psychiatricsobriety.com. My 5-minute introduction. This is 66. I've got about 40 at midweek Zoom calls. So we're probably over 100 of these things. Folks, who are we? What do we do? Why do we do this? We are a community of way showers. We are a community of courageous way showers. All of us at one time were diagnosed by doctors, allopathic doctors in the conventional paradigm with mental illnesses, either bipolar or schizophrenia. I mean, they've got a whole long DSM, list of things that apparently were, according to societal standards, wrong with us. All right, I'm one of them. I had accepted that label for a quarter of a century, 25 years. My label came with handfuls and handfuls and handfuls and handfuls of pharmaceuticals. Well, in my story, folks, the pharmaceuticals are making me sick than the original labels, which weren't true to begin with. Short story straight. It was my guidance to go and find a better way. And this is what I have to share once a week on Sunday mornings at 9 a.m. Pacific time, the better way that I found. And we come, I don't say I say we come and we share our better way. Folks, I was able, through the grace of God, through lots of support and lots of hard work, I was able to get off all those pills. And they included benzodiazepines. And it went even deeper than that, drugs and alcohol. Folks, clean and sober today completely, happy, productive, with purpose. And part of purpose is to extend and share and to support. This is what psychiatric sobriety is all about. It's about experience, strength, and hope, sharing and supporting. So that's what we do here once a week. And it's just once a week from Zoom calls that are being recorded for YouTube. So just know that this is going to go onto social media. The reason it goes on social media is whatever comes through us is extraordinarily valuable. There are so many people out there who have been disempowered by the narrative of mental illness. Now, remember, we're not here to say this is what's wrong with psychiatry. Because if you think you're going to go down the road of what's wrong with psychiatry, you're back into the mental illness itself. No, we are here to share how we have emerged. And it's free for the taking. It's called love, pure and simple. So I start off I say this every time. I probably said this 100 times. But for my disclaimers also, it's important if you're watching this on YouTube. If you're on psychiatric pharmaceuticals, like I was, you've got to go to a professional if it's your choice to go off. That's beyond our scope. I'm not telling anyone to go off their meds. If anybody would like to know how I got off my meds, I will share it freely. That's what I do, is I share how I did it. No, we don't give any advice because that would be reckless and unloving, because we don't know what's best for you. We're sharing what's best with us. And that's why I call it psychiatric sobriety. I'm a 12-stepper. Take what you like and leave the rest. We're here to share our testimonies, folks. Okay. That's my 5-minute introduction. Where we start this, it's grace. It's a ministry, folks, but it's not Christian. We're not here to sell dogma. We're not here to create any more beliefs. We're here to help you unwind the beliefs that kept us mentally ill. Okay. Why is it a ministry? Because you can't do this without a higher power. Call it what you want. Call it God, call it Jesus, call it Krishna, call it Buddha. For all intents and purposes, I'm a 12-stepper. Call it the doorknob. But there has to be a strength and a resource beyond the 5 senses, outside the 5 senses. That's how I emerged from the spider web. Okay, I've said too much. It's the ministry. I'm a Course in Miracles student. I start off each Zoom call with the healer's prayer to bring spirit into this, because it's not about Kenneth. It's about what comes out, what needs to be expressed. I'm just a conduit. Okay. Healer's prayer goes like this. We are here only to be truly helpful. And we are here to represent him or her who sent us. We do not have to worry about what to say or what to do, because he or she who sent us will direct us. We are content to be wherever he or she wishes, knowing that he or she goes there with us. And this is the foundation of my entire ministry, our entire ministry. We will be healed as we let him or her teach us how to heal. There it is. Got it done in 5 minutes. How are you, beloved? Unmute yourself. Share, talk, express, smile, laugh, and most important, dance.
Yes. Yes. I'm good. I'm good.
Okay, for YouTube archives purposes, I had a very, very, very rough week last week. I chose to still facilitate the Zoom call and told everyone how bad off I was. I wanted to blame. Boy, and I wanted to project. It had something to do with someone out there, something out there. I was a victim. Going back into my victim. All right, so let's just share with the whole world, social media. What did I do? I called beloved. Somebody was there. You know, it didn't matter what we said or advice that was shared. It didn't. Listen, you were there. That's all I needed. There's another person. I even if I didn't get it, I obviously wasn't metaphysically correct and probably said, I probably called a few people a few names. Listen, you were there. All right. I just kept walking. I kept breathing because I got triggered. I felt trapped. And that's the victim. We don't need to go into it. So I think that was, I don't remember what day that was, but here's what I do now. I just left. We have a permission slip to take care of ourselves, and I just packed a backpack, and I went and got a motel room for the evening. And I said, all right, God, show me. If I'm supposed to go back, I will. If I'm supposed to leave, I will. But I don't know. I'm going to go to sleep, and I'm going to pray for an answer. Woke up the next morning. The answer was waiting for me. It was very simple. This is what I want to bring forward. The answers are always like an elegant solution to a mathematical equation. They elegantly lead to a proof where both sides balance. It was so simple. I simply called the ministry. I said, I'm going back. These are my terms. I love you. I went back. I stated my terms. And that's all I had to do. All I had to do was to simply stand in my power, state my terms, and go on with my business. Why I have this belief that I needed to I don't want to go into what brought up, but so we don't know what it's going to take. We have this belief that we know what it's going to look like. Well, once again, I had no idea, and I was pleasantly surprised. All right, that's mine. Hi, Jody. Hi, Greg.
Hey. What were you talking about?
Oh, you'll see the archive. I had the rough week last week. I came on like.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and then I expressed with beloved. I expressed all over the place. That's what I tell everyone. I've got a phone list of mighty companions that's going on for 3 decades. I expressed, I prayed, I practiced all the tools that I keep telling everyone else to do. I was taking my own medicine, and the solution, unfolded elegantly. Beloved, of course, a miracle shouldn't we call it a miracle? No, I call it as growing up. This is,
That's a miracle.
Let me
Maturity is a miracle. It doesn't come with age. Let me just say that for all you all who think it does. Age has nothing to do with maturity.
I want to share something. This is the whole foundation of today's Zoom call. I hope it is, unless you find something else. All right. So I wrote David Hoffmeister a letter. Let me see if I can pull it up. David Hoffmeister is my teacher. He had an online workshop. Here it is. All right. This is the letter that I wrote David, because he has a weekly online movie workshop and I get free access to his Zoom every Saturday. Dear David, can you discuss mental illness? I facilitate a support group for others who have chosen to surrender psychiatric pharmaceuticals, like I did many years ago, and go in the direction of faith, spirituality, and metaphysics. Although we are having great success in unbelieving or allopathic labels, it is still my curiosity if there might possibly be a genetic component that is going unaddressed in Course in Miracles circles. Although I am a dedicated Course in Miracles student, there are often times when the daily lessons are simply too advanced for me still, after all of these years. Often, when I get triggered, tools such as levels of mind are just not possible, and instead I must return to simple, fundamental, basic coping strategies until the storm in my head passes. Is all of this really simply ego backlash taking place, and are these mood swings a sign of my awakening, or is there some modicum of change in psychiatry? And was I actually born with a genetic disposition for bipolar? Can you please discuss this? I am so excited that when that Zoom archive makes it to YouTube, that I can clip the moment when he responded. Because his response was as elegant as the solution. His response was 10 times more elegant than the solution that I got here at the Peace House just a few days ago. He nailed it. He went in with a surgical knife, but with a smile and with the brightest amount of light, he untangled the entire narrative that we have been working on with over 100 Zoom calls here by now. Folks, this is kind of like the precipice that we've now got at our disposal, all of these tools, so we can just kindly and with grace and with reverence and with the thank you back ourselves out of psychiatry. We can do it now. We couldn't do it before because we were doing it with a but we have the mastery now to handle it with a martial arts technique that doesn't involve resistance. It involves flow and unionship. and then all of a sudden, we don't need psychiatry because the psychiatry disappears. It was absolutely brilliant. And beyond that, see, I'd written him that letter at 5 a.m. on Saturday morning. And the moment the Zoom call started, it's a movie weekend. The movie that he showed was The Three Christs. 3 schizophrenics in a mental hospital. A beautiful movie. This is a miracle, folks.
What's the name of it?
The Three Christs. I've seen
what?
it. The Three Christs with Richard Gere.
Okay.
3 men in a mental hospital who were schizophrenic, who all 3 believe they're Jesus. And Richard Gere. Now, there's even more. I mean, I'm definitely gonna, once I find the software to learn how to clip that YouTube, it's getting clipped and put on this channel, because it's coming from the master, my teacher at least. But here's what David said. Here's how we started off. It was very clear, and that supports this ministry too. He said, the way we're handling mental illness is cruel. He said, in this
The way what?
The way we're handling mental illness in this culture. I'm paraphrasing. These are not his exact words, but he came out and said it. Fine, because I wanted him to address mental illness. David, it's time. I've been in your ministry for 6 years. Come out, speak it. And he did, of course. He said it's cruel, and he said it's wrong. He didn't say it's wrong, but basically the message was no. He said we're not. He said these people are crying for love. How do we love them? How do we love ourselves? That's what we've been doing here for 100 Zoom calls. How do we love this? That's how the situation in the Peace House got handled. I cried. I went and got a motel room and I said, God, show me how to love this. Show me how to love it. Once we love it, the problem dissolves. The problem is coming from the egoic mind. Something needs to be different than it is now. Something needs to change, and this is affecting my state of mind. Deepest rabbit hole in the world. But we're, courage. We're doing it. All four of us are doing it together. I'm not mentally ill. Neither is Jody, neither is Beloved, neither is Greg. Never were. In that label, we gave to ourselves so that we could be pushed through the eye of the needle to get to the miracle. Folks, that was not a problem. That was an opportunity. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Who wants to go next? No, Jody will. Because she's got a big smile on her face.
I am not a Course in Miracles student, but I am reading this really great book called The Disappearance of the Universe. And wow, I'm about halfway into this book right now. It's being read to me by the author, and holy shit. So there are two types of people in the world. Those who are screaming for love and those who are sharing love. And those who are sharing love are sharing love, and those who are screaming for love are screaming for love, and that love is the answer. I'm going to go and get A Course in Miracles. It's come to me a few times, and this book, The Disappearance of the Universe, has kind of slid me over to that, back to that, it's time to open that book, go down that rabbit hole into those chapters, because it's really quite profound. And I love how Gabor Mate talks about being normal in a toxic culture. The way that we view a lot of things is cruel. It's just downright cruel. The way we raise our children is cruel. The way we treat people who are in pain is cruel. The way we treat ourselves when we're in pain is so cruel. Love is what's missing. Love is the answer. Period.
Solution is simple and elegant.
I love that. And it's so funny that I'm thrilled that you're reading Gary's book. And I'd have to tell you the story about that book in my life. I wasn't a Course in Miracles student at the time, and I was at a friend's house, and he had this amazing library, and he said, oh, my guides are telling me I have to give you a book. And I'm like, at that time I was like, what weird shit, where's your guide? But he was like a channeler, I don't know. And he picked that book off of the bookshelf, Jody, and gave it to me. He says, I was told you are supposed to read this. And after that, A Course in Miracles that's when I started it. That was the kneading I needed of the dough, to allow me to be able to open up to that, that teaching. And I'm going to tell you, it's worth it. If I as a fitness professional, I know what a regimen can do for your body. If a personal trainer says you need to do 3 sets of 10 and of these curls and this and that for this long, you're going to get this results. I can test it and prove it. I have measurements, right? You've got, and that is what A Course in Miracles says. This mental is that they want to call it, so they want to say we're mental ill. I don't know what a mental is, but when our mind is suffering, when we're suffering.
Yeah.
And that's everybody. To me, it's not exclusive, but for those of us, I got a label. I was so proud when I got a label. It's sick, right? But I was so happy. I got somebody gave me a label for this. It was a target so I could work on it, but it was just a setup for me to look at these things that I wasn't looking at. And that's all we're telling us here, because even when you get off all what we're talking about sober, you're still here. You're here during the process. You're here after the, and guess what? The lessons keep coming, right, Kenneth?
Yeah,
Lessons
and
keep coming.
I want to take. We have somebody new on board. Her name is Heather Carroll. Hi, Heather. You can join in and introduce yourself if you like. I want to kind of give you a heads up. This is being recorded for YouTube, so we do this between. Well, I'm now on Eastern time between 12 and 1, and then I turn the recording off. So I just want to give a heads up for that. If you'd like to introduce yourself, fine, and mute yourself. If not, you can just listen because the rest of us 5, we all know each other, and we assemble, once a week, and we just go into the deepest rabbit hole. So if you feel guided to unmute yourself, fine. If you want to just listen, that's great too. I just want to give each person an opportunity to express if they need to.
Welcome, Heather.
Welcome.
I just love the participation. Anybody who comes, Heather Carroll, her name is Nora. Hi, Nora. All right, well, that's fine. If you feel free to jump in anytime you want. I'm sorry, beloved, I cut you off. You were talking about the disappearance of the universe. Oh my goodness, everyone. I love that. My garden in person. She is distracted. Okay, that's fine. I know that Gary Renard wrote that book, and he's been traveling the world ever since.
I just saw him in Guadalajara. I just saw him.
The person really appeared. Yes, they did.
Listen, he's the same dude, and I saw him in Guadalajara, and I got a chance to, chat with him for a minute. But he is the same person, and just his approach. Some people just hate it because he's such an asshole, and he knows it. But it's okay to be an asshole. There are spiritual teachers that are assholes. Hello, they're the same personalities, and but this isn't about how do we think they're going to behave with this knowledge. It's just that this dude was so fucking miserable, and now he's a happy dude, and he was really miserable. I mean, he was miserable.
Can I touch that real quickly, beloved? Because you just I don't want to let that one, fly past us. Basically, in a nutshell, it's the message and not the messenger.
Yes.
If anybody comes and thinks they're going to find a guru, I would tell them to read the book. If you see Buddha on the side of the road, run him over. Do not look for gurus, but teachers, yes, gurus, no. I just had to put that in.
Okay, but wait a second. The really, really hilarious thing about this, though, is that, beloved, you say he's an asshole, and then Kenneth, you say it's not about the messenger, but it's that form, it's the way that he speaks, it's the blunt honesty, the real, like the raw, real, it's funny, and he's not sugarcoating it. And so I was an atheist, I was raised as an atheist, and we used to make fun of religious people. None of that, like religion never resonated with me for so many different reasons. And then when I became spiritual, I was still very anti-religious, but then my spiritual group became kind of like this weird religion thing. And then so I left, and I've been really flopping back and forth trying to figure out what's real and what's just a facade, what's part of the illusion. And it's the way that this book is spoken, the rawness and the realness of not only Gary, who some people would say he's an asshole, but you know what? Gary's not an asshole. Why don't you flip the mirror around there? Because it's not about Gary or Chris or Greg or Beloved or anyone. It's all about me. And that doesn't come from ego narcissism. It's all about me. It's like, no, everything outside of me is a reflection of the inside. And like, once you finally figure out that simple truth, everything changes. But getting to that truth, actually being able to admit that, like, holy shit, I've created all of this, it's all just a reflection, that's the tough part.
Yeah.
It's kind of like eating humble pie. A little bit sobering, isn't it?
It's a lot sobering. Fuck yeah, it's a lot sobering. It's bring you humility. Some people would call that humiliating. It'll bring you down to your knees in a really, really good way.
we used to say in the 12 steps, the truth will set you free, but first it's going to piss you off.
It's gonna piss you off.
And,
Yeah,
you
I've never
know,
heard
the
that.
love is oftentimes, you know, it would be like an errant teenager. Just don't leave. Let them, don't go into theirs, but don't back off and punish. I've never been a parent. I can only imagine what it would be like to have, you know, a rebellious teen. But the ego is just that rebellious teenager. And it's, I don't know, it'd be like taming a wild horse, or, you know, since we're all discussing the Course in Miracles, we're here to unbelieve. You got it, Kirby. Thank you.
That's what I was referring to, training yourself like a personal trainer would train you to, you know, become stronger, whatever your goal was. This Course in Miracles training, it's a mind training program. It is a program, but it's undoing all the programs. It's allowing you to see the programs that you're running that you don't even realize running you. And so, I mean, what's happening here is we're trying to say, you know, what we're dealing with isn't something you can see. I can't wrestle my mind and say, stop acting like a wild horse and chasing after all these crazy thoughts, and then you acting like you believe them, or I get triggered, or whatever it is that we're dealing with, right? But the training, and this is years, and I'm still working at it, allows me to detach from my story. So instead of my soon-to-be ex-wife and I in the same space killing each other, you know, we're not. And it's only because once you realize, like the bitter pill, Jody is realizing, and all of us who take A Course in Miracles realizing you're not a victim. Like Kenneth just realized he wasn't a victim. I mean, last Sunday, I'm ready to go shoot up the place. Now he's like, oh, no, it wasn't them. Sorry, it was me. You know, oh, shit, I just killed all those people. No, let me stop before we get bleeped. But no, I'm just saying, you know, we think it's out there, but we're the ones projecting it out there. This is the projector we got to clean up and straighten up and tune up and see what the heck, you know, because otherwise what I do to her, I'm doing to myself first before it even hits the target. And I felt it. And that's what happens. You just get more awake to what you're doing to yourself. And then more responsibility comes back to you until you can't even tell the story with them in it. That's the point. Them is not. It is. What'd you say, Kenneth? All you, right? Only 100%, like Katie says, but only 100%.
And I'm going to add to this. You know, as we, you know, good luck trying to fix bipolar. Good luck trying to fix like schizophrenia. Good luck trying to fix ADHD. No. Listen, in my story, in Beloved's story, this, and in Jody's story, we're doing this, and we raise our frequency and we ascend. I call it emergence. And this bipolar, this schizophrenia, this ADHD, it gets smaller and smaller and smaller in the distance. You know, it's a shift in paradigm, allopathic to spiritual. I've said it 100 Zoom calls. We've all said it. It works. We said in AA, it works if you work it. AA was not about stopping drinking. Well, you had to, but it was you know, that was 1%. The other 99% was getting connected, reconnected. Jody, I'm with you. I was an atheist, and I used to make fun of the Christians I made fun. Oh boy, would I eat humble pie.
There's still a place for that, though.
Too.
You know, I mean, there's still a place for. You know, I think it's to be sacrilegious. I think there's a little health. That's kind of a healthy thing, you know, not to. I don't know, to criticize religion is sort of a healthy thing, in a sense that when you're a child, when you're a teenager, you need to make fun of your school, you need to make fun of the government, you need to reject your parents, and you need to make fun of religion. You know, those are like those are things that you need to do. You know, there needs to be a healthy criticism of
A
those.
rebellion, right? A healthy
Yeah,
rebellion. Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
absolutely. I think that's part of maturity, right? That's like a rite of passage. We have to go through that rebellious stage
Mm,
to figure out what we really stand for.
right, right.
And what is that? It's questioning.
Yeah.
And questioning is seen as rebellion,
Mhm.
right? The first question I asked, I got in trouble for it. You know,
Well,
uh,
that's definitely what I'm going through right now. I'm trying to figure
yes.
out, still trying to figure out what I think of things, you know, and I was going to a certain 12-step group, and I just kind of realized that wasn't going to be there for me. That wasn't what I needed. I don't know. I'm in a spot where I'm still trying to figure out what I need spiritually, and as far as support groups and things like that, and you know, like what kind of information do I need, and like what do I feel spiritually. I'm still having some problems with the Baha'i faith. I'm trying to figure out like what I feel about that, you know. Kind of like, you know, with Christianity, you can believe the original doctrine, but then you get into Catholicism, and you get into the different denominations, and it gets a little more intricate, you know. And I don't know if I want to be actually religious about the Baha'i faith. And you know, I'm trying to understand what areas of it are corrupt, and what areas of it mean something to me. And as far as the 12-step groups and therapy, I'm not a lot of this, I'm not even trying to get the benefit from it. I'm just trying to figure out what do I think about this stuff, you know, and you know what do I feel about the current spiritual leaders in the world, and what do they have to offer me, and you know what is you know the old psychology definitely doesn't work for me. What's the new psychology? So I'm just trying to, and I still have that, you know, I'm still trying to process a lot, and I'm trying to figure out what modalities are good for me. What will the benefits be for me? And Lord, I got things lined up. I definitely I got gymotherapy, homeopathy, Bach fluorescences, acupuncture. I'm going to do it all. So,
Greg,
Go for it.
Perfect.
you're a seeker, Greg.
yeah.
And those are all the forms. I'm going to go deeper than the forms. This is your prayer.
What?
Help, show me. I don't know how.
Mhm.
And that's going to draw. Let's get back to some of Jody's new age or my new. Yeah, that's all. That's going to draw. That's putting the law of attraction in motion.
Yeah.
You know, this is putting. You know, your own. The answers will come if your own house is in order. You're putting your own house in order, and the answer you're bringing the resources are going to now. You're a magnet for solutions. I want to follow you, Greg. Keep going. Because I want to see what comes into your. I want to see what you attract. I mean, that's basic, you know, law of attraction. You know, Abraham Hicks.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see you see it was within.
Yeah.
That's what we're all going to find out, right?
Yeah.
Jody's like smiling because it is within. I mean, I was the same way. My sister told me that. I was like, so Connie, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to believe in. She's like, go to the library, go research all the religions in the world, go find you for yourself. You know, I'm like, oh, that's too much work, you know. And then I join a cult and follow somebody. You know, I mean, I was looking for shortcuts
Yeah.
all the time. I wanted shortcuts.
Well,
And if
I
it
did
didn't
know
look
that
like I had to work too hard, I wasn't interested.
I know it's not something that's fully external, you know, and
Good.
a lot of it, like I'm trying to connect with my spirit guides, and I'm just kind of realizing who's out there for me, and you know, like you know, a family that's around. I found out that a girlfriend of mine when I was 21 who died in a car wreck is still with me, and many of my relatives, and I called on Raphael, the archangel, not too long ago, and I found out he's still with me, and that was about 6 months ago. That he's the archangel of healing, and he came to me in a dream. So I'm trying to figure out like what my spiritual support group is, I guess you could say. So I'm kind of connecting with some of that. So that's very bizarre, you know, to know how connected you are, to start to realize that shit, that you know that there's more to it than what we see right now and here. You know, what sees us, you know, that's crazy, you know. So, but yeah, I'm still in a journey, and I'm still, you know, trying to hash these emotions out, process all that shit. Um, Trying to figure out what the hell's going on with me. But things are getting better and things are getting less intense. I got some new Bach remedies that are still like making me turn corners in ways. Like there's one that's actually for people who I guess you could call it codependent, but Edward Bach didn't have the self-help diagnoses that we have today either. But we'll say it's for people who love people but don't know how to be there for themselves. And this shit, it just blows my mind.
Ooh, say that again. I like that.
It's
Love
called
people that don't know how to be there for themselves. Wow.
Yeah, let me look it up. Chicory is the new one for me, and there's something called the negative state of Bach flower essences, and I haven't read a lot about the positive side of this, but I know like what it tries to prevent. It says when we fall, let's see, this is the Bach Center's reference. It says, hold on just a second. It says, wow, okay, it says people who are full of love and care for their families and friends, but they expect to receive love and attention in return, with interest, and feel slighted and unnecessarily hurt if they don't get all they expect. Their great love can lead them to hold on to their loved ones and try to keep them dependent and close at hand. Let's see. So that's the negative state, but the positive state is that you love yourself, that you don't need to manipulate the people around you to love you. So it helps you to be there for yourself rather than looking externally. And that's the one I needed more than anything, I think, was that one. So I'm still blown away at this dude. He was a bacteriologist, and he was a homeopath, a vaccine doctor, and I think it was like in the 1930s, and he had a few weeks to live, and he was a homeopath, and he was spending time in a bar, and he saw 38 different types of people with problems, and he was an empath, and he was able to match the vibration of the flowers to these people for their healing. So it's just what this man picked up on and it was such a gift to humanity, you know. And it's not just flower essences for me. This kept me out of prison, and this kept me from being homeless. So it's not aromatherapy. It's not to smell good. This is powerful shit. So I know this is one of the first things I'm going to do in teaching to heal. This is definitely one of the things that I'm going to promote. But I have to be around it. I need to be around people who will talk to me about it all fucking day. You know, so I need a career out of it, I think. Yeah, so. I know y'all heard about it, so yeah.
Only through you. It's
Yeah.
fascinating.
I love watching you light up when you talk about it, Greg.
Yeah.
I was thinking the same thing.
That's the
Greg.
magic. Yeah, to watch you light up.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're blossoming, Greg. Speaking of flowers.
Thank you. Yeah.
Hey, I saw in the chat, Heather was saying my mom would like to say hi.
Oh.
Is she around?
Oh, there she
Yes,
is.
Heather, hi.
Hello.
Welcome to our group, Heather.
Hey,
Hello.
We're companion.
This is
We're
her mother.
psychiatric sobriety.
this is her mother that wanted to say hi.
Okay.
Hi.
Because
Hello.
let me tell you the truth. because Heather kept hollering me while I was on the phone. I wasn't ready to say hi, but now I'm ready to say hi. So
Okay.
hello, it's nice to see you guys. I really like, I don't know technology too much, but I'd rather talk to people that I can see than people I can see in a thing. But I want to learn this stuff, you know? So what do you want to know about me?
What's your
What I
psychiatric
think?
journey?
Well,
My
let's start.
journey?
Heather, I'm just going to give you a heads up. This is being recorded for YouTube. We got another 20 minutes on the recording. After the 20 minutes are up, then I turn off the recording. We keep the Zoom open. So I just wanted to add that to let you know that this is going to be archived. I have a YouTube channel for psychiatric sobriety.com, and we record these because there's so much valuable conversation. So anything you want to share, anything you feel would be, you know, anything that's on your mind, you'd like to express, we're here to unbelieve our mental illnesses, and we're here to emerge beyond that old paradigm narrative. So that's generally what we discussed when we come here. But anything that's helpful for healing, I'm fair game. I don't have any rules.
Oh, and I don't know if I have that power to heal you, but I do have stories
Okay.
that I like to share with y'all. And one thing is, I believed in aliens. First, I didn't believe in aliens, but now I believe in aliens. And I think they take over us when we're asleep.
Mhm.
Because I don't really believe that they could handle us when we are awake. And you know why? Because we're terrible. For real, we are. We're a society that is changing so much that I think the aliens at the very beginning, you know, like in Egyptian times and Planet of the Apes times and all those way back in the time, how creative. Who taught somebody like a human how to do such a perfect image, such a perfect, without tools, you know? What kind of tools did they have back then, you know? So that reached almost the sky, you know? It's so crazy now that I think about them. I'm not scared of them, and I don't
Yeah.
fear them, but I sure would like to know what they want. What do they really want from? To me, I'm a human, right? I'm a human. I was born as a human. You know, that's all I knew. But now that I look outside and sometimes I see like a spaceship, right? And I'm like, well, you're way up there. But how about if you came down and are now around us? So how am I supposed to handle that, you know? My kids think I'm a little bit off, you know.
What was
I
that
think
last part, did you say?
just a little bit. Excuse me?
What did you say right before that? Before you were off or what?
I said I looked up and I seen this object that looked like an alien. How did they come down? Was I there? Or you know, because we only got the movies to
Yeah.
challenge us, right? That's all we got. Just movies to challenge us. And that's like what's her name? Sylvia Weaver, the one that tells that you bitch, you know? That's the best one. That's the only one that I ever watched. Not the other ones. The other ones are really, now they're acting like humans. They want to be aliens, or aliens that want to be humans. You know, I was like, God, it's so crazy, you know? And I'm like, are y'all going to be friendly? Are y'all going to be bad? Or what? Are y'all going to want our babies? Are y'all going to want to make babies with us? I mean, I ask everything, you know?
Well, I think the whole point of our universe is to foster life. I think that's the main thing. So, I think, to think, I think it's a matter of perspective of when you say the word alien, I think that, yeah, it's kind of like, when you get into alternative healthcare, it's kind of like, well, alternative to what, so, I've never explored the idea of aliens before, but it just seems just kind of like one of those common sense things to me that it's there, but I've never really thought about it to the point to where I have an opinion.
Do you have children though?
No,
No, so you never experienced you have never experienced the reality of having a human being
right.
come out of you, huh?
Uh-uh.
Because you're not a woman, right?
Yeah,
But us women,
yeah.
we know what it is. If we've had kids, we know what it is to have a human baby, a baby, But the great thing about this, so far, I haven't heard wide national alert. Hey, we spotted a spaceship, and it's destroying New York or destroying some Africa or some other place. So that's a good thing, We only seen that on the news, but it's like when a war is going off or whatever.
Can I jump in real quick? I think you're bringing
ahead.
forward a very important narrative, and I want to actually tie this narrative into the topic of the Zoom call. Because I think all roads lead to Rome, and the topic of extraterrestrials can definitely take us to where we want to go. It's my understanding that there are out there higher dimensional beings, and it's also my understanding that they are more evolved than the humans who are still at a very primal level. It's also my understanding, because I did quite a bit of research into this, that they are not going to come down to us. They are waiting for us to come up to them. That would tie into all this language that we have in psychiatric sobriety regarding emergence. One of the things that keeps us tethered to the third dimension, kept me tethered to the third dimension, were psychiatric pharmaceuticals. When I'm filling my body, and Jody's good at nutrition, so maybe she can jump into this. When I'm filling my body with a bunch of heavy, poisons, I'll call them that, then I cannot raise my frequency. And when I'm full of all these heavy toxins and poisons, I'm also a vibrational match to mental illness. I'm not going to, state that I'm an expert. I'm just sharing my story. So the topic of extraterrestrials and I'm glad you brought that up, because this can be, I want this community to bring in all the resources possible. And I researched that to the nth degree, and I still like to do my own research. I don't wear a tinfoil hat. I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but there's nothing wrong with a conspiracy theorist. I'm evolving beyond that. But this also ties into what Greg was saying. We've got to find out what's true for us. What we're basically here is we're basically saying the existing narrative isn't working for us. And the existing narrative didn't talk about, they said, space aliens were, boo, 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 boo. Those are 50s, sci-fi movies. Mm-hmm. Yes, let's find out what's true for us. Let's do our own research, and that's what we do here. We think outside this. If we just stay in this tight little box, of course we're going to go for our doctor and ask for pills in that little box. But let's bring in the topic of extraterrestrials, for goodness sake. Thank you, Heather. Well, your name's not Heather, but I forgot your name. That's your daughter's name.
Nora.
All right, write that down.
Nora, yes.
Thank you for bringing that up, because that topic can bring us, into we're here. I call it emergence. People call it the ascension. Richard Rohr calls it just, maturity. Call it what you want. That's what we're here to do, to lift ourselves. We're lifting as a community. That's my goal at this psychiatry, is communities. Thank you, Nora.
Okay. May I chime in, please?
Go ahead.
Please.
So I also have done a lot of research into this area. And Nora, if you want to learn how to connect with them, they do come down. They've been coming down for eons, and we are also interdimensional beings. Like everything in this universe is an interdimensional being. Dr. Stephen Greer, Nora, if you want somebody to share with you how to do this, he calls them encounters of the fifth kind, and this is when you invite them in. So you can actually connect with them, and he does this with a community of people. They do it, I think, last I heard they were in New Mexico. he has a center. And I used to know a lot more than I do now because I've just forgotten it because I'm not into this stuff anymore. But look up Dr. Stephen Greer.
Dr. Stephen Greer.
Yeah.
Can I say something to that?
Please do.
That you just mentioned. I don't know if I want to meet him. I mean, what choice do I have?
All of them. It's your
right?
choice.
It's
your
my
choice.
Right. But if they interrupt my, what I'm trying to say, if they do come down and they want to come to my house, like a Jehovah Witness, let's just say, you don't know how to politely tell them to leave, and you don't want to hear about their God or their things or whatever, right? That's the kind of person I am. If I saw an alien, I don't care if he was green or purple or what, or looked just like me, and I don't want to talk to him, get out of here. And how about if he's stronger than me? I mean, I expect an alien. He's not going to be nothing like me. You know why I expect an alien? Like a hero, like power, power in the eye, like a superhero. Like my granddaughter called me the super shower cap hero. The super shower cap hero, because I was dyeing my hair, and then my daughter Heather sent me the picture. She goes, "Grandma, I got the right name for you," and then she brought it to my attention, and I thought, I am a superhero, but I just don't know exactly how to use my powers, because I might be having some bad aliens,
Nora, can I touch on that?
Go ahead.
There's, you brought up two topics that,
Okay.
Yes, empowerment, superpowers, and the other one that I heard, and correct me if I think what I heard, the aliens aren't going to come to rescue us. And no external saviors. I mean, the trouble I had with the fundamental Christian narrative of Christianity is Jesus is going to come down from the clouds and save you. No, and Jody's out getting a glass of water probably. But what I'm hearing from my research and the messages, the galactic messages that are coming through, and beloved, we're going to touch on Tina in a minute. The galactic messages that are coming through is that they're going to come down and be teachers on how we're to save ourselves. It comes back to the topic of today's Zoom. How are we going to self-responsibility? Self-responsibility. We got to do the work. If we start doing the work, they will show up and support us. They are operating on the same law of attraction we are. These are galactic laws. These are not human laws.
What I was going to say to that, and every time I put my finger down, I try to, when you're telling me something, I have real problems speaking. So if I hear something you said, and what I said, you said, they're going to help our lives, but are they going to help our planet?
Well, what we're going to do, Nora, if you want to listen to this archive, I record all these for YouTube. I'm glad you brought that up. I wish we could have started bringing this up at the beginning of the Zoom call. So we only have about 7 minutes left.
Yes.
Are we going to? For the purpose of the Zoom call, we're here to emerge ourselves from our disempowering narratives, and I'm not sure if that might be material for another Zoom community. Healing the planet itself. Right. If you listen to some of these archives where the planet is actually in sight, that's getting too complicated. Does anybody want to touch on that? I think I'm running out of.
I just want to say to Nora, hey Nora.
Hi.
It's underlying this. It sounds like you have fear. Yeah. Is that what I'm hearing? You're fearful that they're going to come down and be monsters and
you saw them. You just when I saw what's her name in the first Alien, I saw her. I saw Miss Weaver. I don't know what, and the little girl escaped. But I seen her destroy that ugly old monster or whatever it was, and that's how I feel. I don't fear it, but I am not. I'm in the middle, like I don't fear it, but I like to know who it is, or how does it look, or why would it come, and how do they do it, you know? I can think of a surgeon, when they go operate on the heart, they study about operating this and this. Well, how aliens, how do they work their mind? Now I'm investigating about their mind, just like we investigate about, our mind. I don't know how they work. And that's just, plain and simple. I'm a human and I know how I work. I mean, I cry when sad things happen. I laugh when everything's, I just asked my son for $200 and he said no, that he couldn't give it to me. And it made me a little bit mad because he's a little bit rich. So I'm thinking about an alien. What does he think like? What is his purpose if he is up there? And if he wants us up there, what is his purpose for us? How to live up there? Do they live like us or do they live differently? My daughter said, "Time out, y'all speak on that. Y'all, it's your turn."
Well, you sound curious, Nora. You seem curious, like you're
Well,
searching.
yes,
You're
I am
wanting to
curious.
understand.
I am certain about them, but I'm curious about them because who does know what an alien looks like? We have the only mental picture that we have of aliens is what we see on movies. Have you seen one? And if you have, I would like to know because I believe
Let's do this, Nora. I'm going to wrap up the YouTube archive. This Zoom room stays open for as long as anybody wants it, but the YouTube archive itself will come in on the hour, and I'm feeling guided. I want to keep these under 60 minutes. So everyone stay on the call, but I'm just going to wrap up the recording. This is Kenneth Price on Sunday, February 26th, and this is our 66th Sunday morning Zoom call for psychiatricsobriety.com. If you're watching this on YouTube, please leave your comments below. But even more than leaving your comments, please join us on Sunday mornings at 9 a.m. Pacific time. What we're doing here is just, I couldn't be more thrilled that we're unbelieving ourselves out of these disempowering narratives that all of us have, at one time bought into, that usually contain a mental illness label. We're emerging from, many different labels. We're basically waking up. And like Nora just said, Nora came on, we're finding our superpowers, be it Superman or Wonder Woman or Popeye eating a spinach. It's all I can stand. I can't stand no more. I am what I am, and that's all that I am. And folks, we're inviting in the power of love. And the power of love is not a vibrational match to mental illness. I call it emergence. You choose your vernacular. Some people call it a miracle. Anyway, I've said too much. This is the end of the recording for Sunday, February 26th. Leave your comments below. Visit my website. God bless. And